Hello friends, this is Syed Saif and I welcome you all for this new course on Amygdala Hijack, which is actually how do you control yourself when you are in anger. So this is about anger management and how do you really come across with your colleagues, your friends, your peer group, your subordinates, your supervisor and everyone. So very quickly, we are going to cover this topic. Once again, this is Syed Saif from Brain Now Consulting. Very quick overview of my profile. You can go through it, pause the video and see if you want to see it. We will escape and go to the main content very quickly. So we will start with a story. Now this story is about a family. They used to stay together and 2-3 generations were staying together. And there's this small girl in the family who was very curious to know that whenever the fish is cooked in the house, the head and the tail of the fish is actually chopped off. Now this was really worrying for her and she was not able to understand that why in such a big family we cook the fish but then we waste a lot of pieces of the fish and the head and a big piece of the tail is cut off. And then the remaining portion is cooked, which is too small for the family. So she goes to her mom and asks, "Mom, why do we cook the fish like this?" The mom would say that, "See, we cook the fish like this because my mama told me to cook it like this. Why don't you go and check with your grandmom?" So this girl goes to her grandmother and asks that, "Grandmother, why do we cook the fish like this, that we chop off the head and the tail of the fish?" And she says that we cook the fish like this because this is how my mom told me. So why don't you go and ask your great-grandmother? Now this girl, out of curiosity, goes to her great-grandmother to ask. And she asks her great-grandmother, to which she replies, "This was very long back when we used to stay in a small village. And we had a very small frying pan. We were so poor that we couldn't afford a big frying pan. And to fry the fish, the entire fish would not fit in the pan. So what I used to do would cut the head and the tail of the fish so it fits in the pan. That's the only reason." Now this girl is surprised that for ages we've been following the same old tradition. Our condition has changed. We are in a much better financial condition right now, but still we are doing the same thing, that we are cutting the head and the tail of the fish. Now this is what happens in our lives also, that sometimes we are so stuck with some old rudimentary practices that we really don't question the status quo, and as a result what happens is that we continue to follow the old practices and we do not change ourselves. Alright, so why I'm telling you this is because today's topic on the amygdala hijack is to do something with this, that if we really want to change ourselves, we will have to look inside as well as outside, and we need to question the status quo. I'm not saying that we should question everything, but obviously when, for example, you are in office, you see a particular process happening in a particular way which is taking a lot of time and you have some good idea to suggest that this can be done in a better way, that is the time when you question the status quo and see if that process can be optimized and things can be changed. We move ahead with the topic quickly because I do not want to make a very long video. Now, there are 3 big helpers in our brains, and to understand this, we will have to understand a little bit about our brains, how our brains function. So the first part of the brain is called the PFC, which is the prefrontal cortex. The second part of the brain is called the amygdala, and the third is the hippocampus. Alright, so PFC, alright, this which you see as a green part here is the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking part of the brain. Alright, so this actually makes the decisioning easier. It is the thinking part, it is the learning and the problem solving part of the brain. Alright, and then we have the hippocampus. What is the hippocampus? This is like, the pen drives and the hard drives that we have in our computer. So this is like a file saving system. So all the information that is to be remembered is saved here in various cabinets, and so it keeps on saving the information. What we are going to talk about is the feeling part of the brain, which is called the amygdala, also known as the security guard of our brain. Now, what is the function of amygdala and what does it do? Now, primarily what amygdala does is that it keeps us safe, or it tries to keep us safe by giving us warnings about the perceived threats that we may have. All right. So what happens is that when you are in a certain state of anger, or you have to respond to someone, all right, you are in front of a customer is shouting, you also start shouting immediately. Okay, now what has happened is that your amygdala has been hijacked, which means it has bypassed your prefrontal cortex and it has gone to straight away amygdala, and your amygdala is hijacked, and as a result what is happening is that you are not thinking, you are just reacting in a flash. This entire thing actually started, if you imagine yourself that you are maybe 10,000 years back in a prehistoric era, and when you were not aware of any wild animals, you did not know that there is some kind of a threat around, alright, you were just living your life in a village. Suddenly what happens someday that you see a saber-toothed tiger, it comes and attacks and kills a few people in the village. That is where you learn that, alright, there is something that can kill you and harm you, and that is where your amygdala starts to get activated, and then you start perceiving threats, more threats like these. Whenever you are alone, you may get scared. When you are walking in the dark, you may get scared. Now, because an incident has happened with you, so now your brain has started scanning. Till then, nothing was happening. But now it has started scanning for threats, and as a result, this keeps on growing and growing and growing over you. And what happens is that it becomes a continuous scanner like a radar, and it keeps on scanning the threats. So most of the time you will see that our reflexes are also, because of this amygdala. Sometimes you are about to fall, or you see a kid falling, immediately you will run, rescue, or maybe hold the kid and try to save yourself if you are falling. Okay. Now what happens in a situation sometimes is that you are left with just three options. Either it is flight, or it is freeze, or fight. Most of the time when you see a situation, or when you get into a situation where you know that you will not be able to fight, what you do is you take a flight, you run away. Obviously in front of a tiger or any wild animal, you would not want to fight with that animal, right? There are chances that because of fear you may get frozen, you freeze in that place. But most of the time what happens is that you take a flight and you run away from there. So amygdala is continuously scanning for threats so that it can protect you. What are the kinds of threats that one can have? You can have physical, mental, emotional, ego related. Now what happens is that when two amygdalas are triggered, the trust and the connect is lost. What do you mean by this? That the customer is shouting at you, maybe your partner, your spouse, your friend, whoever is shouting at you, and you also start responding in that particular manner, and you also start shouting at the top of your voice. That is where the two amygdalas have been triggered now. Both of you are shouting, screaming at each other, and maybe you are not listening. Alright, so you have bypassed your thinking part of the brain, which is your prefrontal cortex, and your amygdala is now hijacked. The decision, my dear friends, is with you. Which pill do you want to take? Alright, the chill pill or the red pill? Obviously, you would want to take the chill pill that keeps you chill. You do not make others angry. You do not get yourself angry. You keep your calm intact. As a result, you become a better person. You are able to respond to these situations in a much better way, rather than reacting with anger and fear, or harming yourself or maybe harming others. Alright. So if you have a question in mind as to who's that person who can actually help you overcome this problem of amygdala hijack, so here's the answer. If you are searching for that one person who will change your life, look in the mirror. There's no one else, it is you. If you have to do something, you will have to change yourself, you will have to change your behavior. look at yourself in the mirror and see and think of situation how you have behaved in particular way in a particular situation. Could you have behaved differently? Could you have reacted differently if you would have controlled yourself for some time and let your amygdala not be hijacked in a particular situation? So here is an assignment for you that you can do for yourself, right? And you can set a amygdala goal for yourself. If you are working, then it could be for your organization. If you are not working, then it is for your personal life. Number one, what will you change in your behavior? And number two, for which 2 or 3 personal characteristics would you like to be most remembered for? All right, it could be your skills, your behavior, your values, anything. All right, remember that if you change yourself, then you will have to take action. Okay, as they say, a ship in a port is safe, but that is not what the ships are built for. This is a very famous saying. I'm sure you would have heard this. So act on this, take this assignment and see what you can do for yourself to better your life and the lives of others around you. With this, I would like to thank you. This is Syed Saif from Brain Now Consulting. I'm signing off now. Hope this was helpful for you. I would request you to please subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. These are very, very important videos and we take a lot of time to create presentations for you and these videos for you. Our courses are sold on some platforms where we sell these courses, but what we are doing is now that we are providing this information and this content to you absolutely free of cost so that all of us can learn from this. If you have a question and you want to know more or you want to get into some kind of a personal coaching session with us, you can write to us at info@brainnowconsulting.com. Once again, I'm requesting you to please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching this. Take care. Bye-bye.